Now, I know one of the things that you were hoping and many were hoping was that this was going to be a blowout. This would be a complete repudiation of Donald Trump and all of his politics and his decisions and COVID-19 and race relations, and there's a whole long list for Democrats.
Yep.
That hasn't happened really.
It did not happen at all. And as was mentioned, in fact, it would seem to be a bolstering of him, given the fact that, as you mentioned, you have all of these new people who showed up at the poll. And I would have to say that I really want the Democrats to understand the power of expanding your base, because that's exactly what we saw Donald Trump do. Now, I would say, though, that what this tells us about America is something, quite frankly, that a lot of us really don't want to believe, but it's true. Um, a lot of people wanted to believe that apparently Donald Trump was some sort of aberration, was some sort of blip on the Richter screen, that he was really not representative of what America is and who Americans are. But the reality is that the results of this election is showing us very starkly whether or not we want to believe it. Some of us want to believe it, that this is exactly who we are. This is exactly who America is. And even if Joe Biden is to win this presidency, he is going to have a hefty challenge in front of him in terms of governing this very divided electorate, and not only divided, an electorate that has tens of millions of people who are, as I would say, sort of right wing and particularly extreme, as many of as Trump's supporters are. And I would doubt that Trump would just disappear. I would not be surprised to see that there would be some shenanigans that would still go on to sort of rile up that element against the Biden presidency.
Yeah, let's show some of the decided states here as, again, our conversation continues for our viewers at home who are watching. And we see we're still waiting for states like Nevada, Georgia, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, and Michigan to be called, including Alaska, although, of course, that's heavily Republican. So that's, in all likelihood for Donald Trump. But the other ones are still in a big state of flux as well. Same question for you, Cory, because, you're a Republican, not a fan of Donald Trump. I think that, you, in fact, voted for Joe Biden. So now, where does that leave your party? I mean, it hasn't been a repudiation for Trump. On the contrary, he got more votes. What's the path forward for Republicans now?
Well, not only did he get more votes, he got them in places that people were dubious that he even had support in before, such as Latino communities. Last count, he was at 26%, the highest percentage a Republican has gotten in decades, potentially a century. And so I think that there was an expansion there of the electorate that he was able to accomplish. And you and I and others on this panel have talked quite a bit about that in the last week. The claims that the Republican National Committee made that was happening, and people doubted it, but clearly they were correct. I take issue a little bit with the fact that this is who America is, that we're somehow mean-spirited or awful because Donald Trump got so many votes. I think it's less who we are and just where we are. And Donald Trump was a candidate completely made for Fox News and by Fox News and the supporters who watch Fox News. And I think hopefully there'll be a coming together in America, a realization that we're being polarized by outside sources, a lot of them cable news in this country, and it's problematic. And I hope that Joe Biden coming together in what I view as the best case scenario, and you and I have talked about this too. I voted for Joe Biden. I also voted for Republican senators. I think a Republican Senate, a Joe Biden who knows how to work across the aisle to get things done, are going to prove to America over the course of the next 4 years that we can come together and accomplish great things still in a bipartisan way.
All right, we're going to continue our conversation with Cory and Steve and Avis in just a moment. Lots going on.